So once you're done with the practice round, you can move on to the qualifying round. As you can see, this button comes up right here. And as soon as you click it, you move on to the qualifying round. But as I keep stressing, you can only change your setup during the practice round. So please remember that before you move on to qualifying to make sure you have the proper setup. With that being said, let's move on to the qualifying round. So the qualifying round, as you can see, is basically the same setup as the practice round. You have your flag, you have the type of event, you have the length, you have the classification, and you also have the 2 driver panels, but as I've already said, without the setup button. The point of the qualifying round is really simple. You have 5 minutes with which to get the best lap time as you can. You only have 2 attempts per driver, so each attempt you need to make a count, because obviously the better your lap time, the better your starting position in the actual race. So now the qualifying round is done and we can move on to the actual race. With a car that, isn't too great, we managed to lock up the 8th spot over here, while our first driver, unfortunately, will be starting in 17th. But that doesn't mean anything, right? It's all about race day, so let's move on. So we finally made it to race day. As you can see, we're in 8th spot right over here. Our teammate is in the 17th spot over here. And also, if you've noticed, the layout is basically the same. We have our beautiful background with the trees and the fields. We have the flag, and we have the number of laps for the entire race. So before you start the race, you can make a few little adjustments to, make sure that everything's good. As you can see in the classification box here, you have the setup of all the other drivers as well. So who's using soft tires, who's using hard tires. In fact, as you can see here, De Jong is using hard tires. If we change that right away, you can see it changes here to soft. But, you can make some last minute adjustments, whatever you want, hard tires, soft tires, more power, less power. For example, our second driver here, De Jong, has already used a lot of his engine, so we're not going to start on power 5 right away because, by the end of the round or by the end of the race, he might not even be able to finish. So you can make little adjustments like that, and then you can get to the race. So now that the race has started, as you can see, we're getting some real-time updates for the gaps. So what you're seeing on this screen right now is the amount of time between your car, or the car shown, and the cars in front of it. Third box is the strategy. Now what this explains is the amount of time between your car or the car that you're reading. So for instance, let's say Tremblay. The plus 11 is the time between himself and the first place car. So there's 11 seconds between Tremblay and Meta, 12 seconds between De Jong and Meta, etc., etc. This also displays the type of tires that each car is using and the amount of pit stops they've already done.